I just love people. I'm very much an extrovert that way. I was actually even just talking to my husband last night. I'm just like, Jason, I just love people. So like, for example, like people, how they feel like they're close to God. Jason says like he feels really close to God when he goes and he's out riding and he sees nature and everything's kind of quiet and calm. I feel close to God when I'm interacting with people. I'm just like, God, you made that person. They're so amazing. Look at their gifts. Look at their talents. And I'm just like, oh, like I love everybody.
Welcome to the Carla Rand Show, everybody. Nice to see you, or not. I am not Carla Rand. I am Niki. I usually do the digital media, making behind-the-scenes stuff, but she is Carla Rand. And so today we are going to interview Carla Rand with some questions that I came up with, questions that I got from some of you guys. So let's just roll right into this. Hi, Carla.
Hey, I'm excited, Niki, because I'm always the one doing the interviewing. So I didn't really have to do anything. So you're like setting everything up and I'm just kind of sitting here like, yeah, just tell me what to do. So it's been very relaxing for me. But yeah, you're going to ask me a bunch of questions. I don't even really know what you're going to ask me. So I'm excited.
It's true, like the power is in my hands.
Exactly.
Okay, so why are we doing this interview, Carla? Why did you decide that people need to know more about you?
I just thought it would be fun because I always have people asking me like, oh, Carla, how do you do this? Or what happens here? Or what does this look like? Or why are you like that? And I just thought it'd be fun for people just to ask me whatever they want, just random questions, and I'll just answer on the fly. It would be fun for me, and I thought it probably would be fun for the listeners too.
That's fair and probably true. Okay, so tell us about yourself, Carla.
Tell us about myself. Okay, so I am a mom of 6. I'm a wife of 1, which is good. I have, I'm a farm wife. I have a fitness company. Also, I do this podcast. I just love people. I'm very much an extrovert that way. I was actually even just talking to my husband last night. I'm just like, Jason, I just love people. So like, for example, like people, how they feel like they're close to God. Jason says like he feels really close to God when he goes and he's out riding and he sees nature and everything's kind of quiet and calm. I feel close to God when I'm interacting with people. I'm just like, God, you made that person. They're so amazing. Look at their gifts. Look at their talents. And I'm just like, oh, like I love everybody. So I very much love people. And I often will even just put on my stories every once in a while on Facebook or Instagram. I'll just say, I love everybody so much. I love you. Like, I just really love people. So that probably, I could go on, but that probably describes me at least in a nutshell.
So you're mom, fitness instructor, and businesswoman, and Christian. So throughout your life, like when did you realize that fitness and business was the thing that you wanted to do?
Well, fitness came basically just like I was playing basketball, so I was always kind of, a little bit athletic, and trying to do stuff, but I didn't have a lot of opportunities in that department, like to be on sports teams and stuff, just because I was in a really small school and I was homeschooled a lot. So there just wasn't that opportunity. So then when I got, as I got older and I went off to boarding school, then I actually got to be part of a basketball team and I loved it. And then when I went to college, I got to play more basketball. And then what I did is I trashed my knees. I ended up playing too much, too fast, and didn't train properly and really hurt my knees, so to the point where like just walking up the stairs hurt. So then I started going to aqua fitness. I went to a few aqua fitness classes with a friend that invited me, and I said, I don't know what this is about. So I went to these aqua fitness classes, and then I actually learned and kind of like it. I'm getting a little bit stronger and my knees could handle it. So I was like, this is great. And then I became an instructor because they're like, we need more instructors. You should become an instructor. And then I just kept taking more instructing and I did more and more and more. And I just really loved it. So ultimately it was initially because of an accident. I couldn't do anything else. So I went and did aqua fitness classes. Otherwise I would have just probably kept playing sports and running and stuff. And then from there, I just learned to love it. And so initially it was kind of a selfish thing. Like I just need to get fit. I need to get my knees rehabbed. And then I just learned to love it. And then I saw other people's rewards. Like when I would teach them, I would see that they're getting fit. And then they wanted information about nutrition too. So then I got my nutrition certification. So it just was like basically started with me and then like, what did my clients need? And so I just kept getting more certifications, more professional development, whatever you want to call it, so that I could serve them in the best way possible. So that's really how I got into fitness. How I got into business was just sort of a byproduct of that, because I used to just run fitness classes like for the county or, for the town or whatever. And then I started going off kind of on my own. It's just the way it worked out. It kind of morphed into that. And so I just started running a few classes. And then before I knew it, I was like, more classes and more classes. And then I was like, I got to have a system. And then I needed to hire people. And it just sort of was like, oh, I guess I'm running a business.
Before you know it, you have a logo and an entire staff and everything's just exploded out of that. That's cool.
Yeah. So I never intended. In fact, I always thought business was very boring. I had some friends that studied business and I'm like, That's like watching paint dry. Like, why would you study business? And now I'm like, that could have been handy. That could have been handy.
Knowing a little bit more, maybe?
Yeah.
All right, so businesswoman, fitness, how do you balance keeping up with the people that you work with, the life that you live with, fitness and running the business, with managing, having 6 kids and a husband at home, and even like a farm in your like repartee as well?
Yeah, I get that question a lot. How do you do it all? How do you do it all? The reality is I don't do it all. Nobody can do it all. So what's happened is, well, I have 6 kids, which means I have 6 times the mess of people that are empty nesters. However, I also have 6 times the help, right? And so my youngest is 5. He'll be 6 this summer. My oldest will be 17 this summer. So they can help out a lot. So one of the kids kind of handles the laundry. One of the kids kind of handles the dishwasher, dishes kind of thing. When I'm away, sometimes like Jason will cook or some of the kids will cook. So really we all kind of pitch in. I mean, ultimately it does fall on me. I have to make sure it gets done.
You're still the mom.
Still the mom. And if somebody doesn't do their job or they're away or they're busy or they're sick, it does fall on me. But yeah, so I delegate. I'm very good at delegating and I always have been. So ever since, I'm just like, oh, just get somebody else to do it. And I don't know exactly why that is. I think part of it is just I know what my limitations are. Yeah. And also I think growing up with my dad running a business, I saw that he had a secretary, that he had, workers that did various things. So that was kind of normal to me. You just get somebody else to do it if you're busy, right? Mm-hmm. So that's really kind of how I do it all. But also last year, I realized even more the pressures. And so my boundaries weren't strong enough. I had to put higher boundaries up. And I had to have a really big discussion with my husband and the family, just saying, okay, here's what I can do. Here's what I can't do. Here's what we need to do. So I've even hired someone once in a while to come and clean the house. I just the other day actually hired someone to cut my grass, but that was a bit of an exception. It's just the lawn tractor was broken and we're having company over. So, anyway, stuff like that. So yeah, I think delegation is key. Setting boundaries is key. And also I'm a very high energy person. So I think that what I can handle maybe is different than maybe what some people can handle. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I maybe have more capacity in a way. I love to be busy and I love to have lots going on. So I think that's part of it. Yeah. Yeah,
people seem to forget that when you have 6 kids, it means it took a bit of time to get that many kids so that there are older ones that you can rely on and not just 6 5-year-olds running around the house at any given time.
I know a lot of young moms that they just had their first kid or they just had their second kid. They're like, I can hardly handle 2. How do you handle 6? I'm like, I didn't have 6 all at once. I didn't have, whatever the 6 tuplets or whatever that would be called. Anyway, something like that. Yeah, I had them one at a time. And by the time I had number 3, number 1 was kind of able to help a bit. And by the time and actually in a lot of ways, I think having 3 or 4 kids was harder than having 6 in some ways. I mean, each kid, now that they're older, like each kid needs attention. So it's still a lot, but I think that, yeah, everybody can kind of help out. Yeah. And they just have to, like, there's no option. It's not like, oh, do you want to help mom? This is what you're going to do. So they're pretty good about it.
One of the questions we got online was, how do you manage your mental health and your physical health while still keeping everything decent?
Okay, so having kind of that, like staying positive is huge. It's really important in business too, because if you start to get negative, you can spiral downhill. And actually that is what happened to me last year. My mental health wasn't good, and mental health was never a problem for me. I was always just like, whatever. And people that struggled with their mental health, I often just thought, oh, they need to like just buck up and deal with life. They're too sensitive. And I didn't realize that you can push yourself into a corner and all of a sudden your mental health can become a problem. So my mental health, definitely did become a problem. I hit a wall. I kind of had a mental breakdown, and then I was able to sort of reevaluate. But keeping positive, it's a choice that I just make every day. If I start to, I'm busy or this is happening and that's happening, I'm just like, no, I choose to do this. So particularly when I go to teach a class, if I've had a really busy day, things are kind of chaotic, maybe there's some tension somewhere, I just put that away. Like, that goes in that box. This is my fitness box. And now I'm going to go teach a class. So there's been a few times actually where I was crying and then I had to go teach a class. Wow. It doesn't happen a lot, but I would actually be crying and I would just like shake it off and be like, this has got to go back in that box. I got to put my game face on right now, because it's very important to me that when my clients come, they have a very good experience. And I don't want to be sort of like distracted or just not on top of my game. So I just choose that that's how I have to perform every single time. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A lot of people who know you as this not boisterous, I guess, but like outgoing, happy person. But that was not necessarily being socially an extrovert, was not necessarily always what you were like growing up, right?
That's right. I was a quiet, shy, hide behind my mom kind of person. And so company would come and mom would always like, come on, Carla, like, go say hi. And I would just be like hiding, and people would always, oh, she's got these big brown eyes, because that's all they would ever see is these big eyes looking up scared. And I was quiet, and it was I was very different. So then the question is, well, what happened? What happened? Honestly, I think part of it was maybe like hormonal, like puberty and stuff. Like when I hit puberty, I think the hormones kind of changed maybe. But the other part of it was I was homeschooled. I didn't get out a whole lot. So I was home a lot with my family. My dad's business was there. We had people coming and going a lot, but I could kind of decide how much I wanted to interact. It wasn't like you're out in a school system where you have to talk to those kids in your class or you have to do a class presentation. So I was homeschooled initially. And then when I did go to school, it was a smaller school. But I do remember in grade 5, like every time I would go out to school, I would get a little bit more like talkative and outgoing. But I think it was just partly too, like I had an older sister, Coach Laura. She was 2 years older than me, so we played a lot together, but I very much looked up to her, and she was very much the leader. She's my older sister. So often we were together, so I would kind of wait for her to take the lead, and I would just kind of like hide and be quiet and shy. But I remember the first few times where I had to go up and do a class presentation or I had to sing in public or something, my face would go beet red and I would be so embarrassed, and I hated doing anything in public. But what happened is, because I was in a small setting, small church, small school, and home and whatever, often they would be like, okay, Carla, somebody's got to sing this Mary song for the church play, the church Christmas pageant.
Yeah.
And you're the one that can do it. So you're going to have to do it.
Congratulations.
And there wasn't a whole lot of choice. Yeah. So I was just like, okay. So I kind of got pushed into things a lot. I was leading the music team at church when I was only 14.
Wow.
So there was a lot of those things where I just kind of got pushed into it. And yeah, my face was red the first few times, but I just kind of did it. And then I remember going to college, I had to do public speaking. Of course, university, I was taking a teaching degree. So there was all kinds of presentations, evaluations. And honestly, my music was huge. I had to take voice lessons. I had to do recitals. I took piano lessons. I had to do recitals. I didn't like the recitals. That was the worst part of it. But I just learned to cope. And just more and more training. I did choir, we did tours. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, in college, I became like a care leader, which is kind of like a leader of a small group. So then all of a sudden I'm running Bible studies and running events for these girls. And so it was just like I was constantly pushed into leadership roles. So it was basically sink or swim. And so I just had to get over it. And I just decided, I'm like, I have to get over this if I want to have fun. And then I realized that the adrenaline rush that I get from being nervous is actually a bit of a hit. Like, it feels good. So then I started actually enjoying performing, speaking, and all that. But it took a while. And I still get nervous. Like even this podcast, like I'm still nervous, but it's also fun for me. Like, it's kind of like, woo, I have to think on the fly. I have to like it's just, yeah, I think I don't know. I'm just kind of wired, I guess, to do that. And so I enjoy it now. But yes, it was a whole process. Part of just like kind of growing up, part of like getting away from my sister, not like in a bad way, but just like learning that I am an individual and I have to do my own thing, and also getting some distance just from my parents and my family and everything, and being, in these leadership roles. And then of course going off, I actually went, like, here's this quiet, shy person. When I was only 16, I headed off to boarding school for grade 12.
Wow.
So I was 16, I just turned 17, and I did grade 12 away from home. So that was huge too. So I think it was just like, I was forced. Like, it was like, you either figure this out, Carla, or you're going to be miserable, because you're not going to be able to make friends. You're not really going to have fun. All of that. And then also I was the captain of the basketball team in grade 12. So that got me out of my shell. So there's just a lot of things that, yeah.
So being pushed out of your comfort zone changed where your comfort zone is,
exactly.
To the point that now you can't imagine going back to being quiet and shy and not speaking your mind.
Yeah. I think I would be very like lonely and bored if that was the case. Yeah.
So what's your favorite part of being a mom and having the kids and hanging out and stuff?
Well, I do really love being a mom. I'll tell you what my favorite thing is now, but I really feel like I've enjoyed the whole process. So I loved it when they were little babies and I would take them home from the hospital and I would look at them and they were so sweet and I would nurse them and I would sleep by them and I would just like dote on them. Like, I loved that so much, and their little cries and their little, everything's so tiny. I really enjoyed that. And I was actually very sad when I had my last baby, when I had Tyson. I cried and I made a little box. I put a like little soother and all that. I'm like, I don't think I'm going to have any more kids now. And I was like crying It was like super emotional. So I really loved that part. I didn't love childbirth, but I loved after I had that baby, how good I felt and just like, oh, I have this baby. It was so precious. What a gift, you know? So I really enjoyed that phase. I love like when they get to their terrible twos, they're little brats and they're exploring and they're getting into everything and they're saying no. Like, so I love just every stage. There's stuff I just love about it. But right now I'm really enjoying watching them grow up and seeing how they're like little individuals. Like here's my daughter, right? This is what she's like. This is her personality. And here's my son. And trying to like not put them in a box in any way, but just kind of seeing like how they are developing and what are they going to be like? What are they going to pursue?
Just watching them become adults and functioning human beings. Yeah.
And then always asking questions like, what do you want to do? What do you like? Why don't you try this? Why don't you try that? And just really like trying to support them as much as I can to be the person that God wants them to be and to really like thrive in their life. So I'm always like, maybe, you know, they're like, Mom, I'm fine, you know, but just like, you know, how is their mental health? How's your physical health? How is your spiritual and emotional health? Like I'm always kind of evaluating and checking in with them because I'm really concerned that they really grow and develop the way that they want. But also I don't want to pressure them. So yeah, so I love being a mom. I love every part of it. It's super challenging. It's the hardest thing I've ever done, but it's also by far the most rewarding thing. And I know that sounds like a cliche, but that's the fact.
Maybe that would be a harder question would be, what's the worst part of being a mother, Carla? What do you truly struggle with? But you don't have to answer if you don't want to.
Well, I will answer that now that you've asked that because now my head's going there. I think the worst part about being a mom is just always feeling like you're not doing enough. You're not like, I should have done more for this kid, or this kid is struggling because I wasn't there, or this kid is struggling because, oh, they're struggling with the same thing I'm struggling with. It's probably my fault because I also struggled with that. Or, you know what I mean? Like just kind of always feeling like I'm not doing enough. I got to do more. I got to pray for them more. I got to take them to more places. And like just that feeling always at times running out. Like my daughter's going to graduate next year, right? And I'm like, oh, I got to do more. Yeah, but I feel like that in every area of my life. I always feel like I'm not doing enough. I always feel like there's another level. And so I feel like there's a deeper level. There's another level as being a mom. So I think it's that tension of trying to be the best mom that I can be without feeling too much pressure. And I remember somebody mentioned that to me one time before. They're like, Carla, you're a great mom. You know, stop worrying that you're not a good enough mom. So yeah, I think I always struggle with just always wanting to be better. So I think that's probably the hardest part is just feeling like I can't do everything for the kids like I want to. Yeah.
So what advice would you give to a young mom who is potentially thinking about starting their own business in any like capacity? If they came to you and were like, Carla, what's the one thing you would say to someone like that to encourage them, or maybe even like piece of advice?
I would say to them, go ahead and start it. It's not going to hurt. Go ahead and start it. But just make sure you start setting up some boundaries right now and just know that you probably can't do as much in your business right now as you can in a few years. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
There are so many things that I wanted to do. Like if I didn't have a family and kids, like I would be on the road all the time. I would be running events probably every weekend. I would probably be speaking all the time. I would be running more classes. I would have it would just be like blowing up.
Yeah.
So I think for me, it's just like knowing where those boundaries are and what is your actual priority with your kids and how do you want your kids to remember you?
Okay, so setting your standards where it's important before you start diving into the other things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, but you can still learn as you go. Like learn as much as you can. You might as well. But just know that you may not be able to go as far as you want yet. And there'll be a time for that.
Yeah.
So while you're waiting, learn, develop, grow, and just like learn and develop as a person as much as you can so that when you are ready, you're kind of a step ahead.
Yeah. And so in that sense, failing and or struggling is not a bad thing when you're just starting out or when you're trying to figure out something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only failure is when you stop trying. That's it. I tell my kids that, oh, Mom, I failed at this. Man, I didn't do good in this test. I'm like, are you still trying? Are you still studying? Are you going to stand up and clean up that water that you spilled all over the floor? Yeah. Then you're not a failure. You're still trying. You're still doing it. So I really feel like when you fail is when you quit. When you just say, I'm not even going to try anymore. So for me, I never fail because I never quit.
There you go.
So like I'll do all kinds of silly things and lose money in business, lose time, lose energy, hurt my shoulders because I overdid it, whatever. But I'm not failing because I'm not stopping. So that's how I see it. Yeah.
So we did mention a little bit at the beginning of the thing how you were also a Christian. You were raised in the church. You were born there, went to Bible college even. So how does your faith affect how you do business or how you do fitness, or does it?
Yeah, it absolutely does. And I actually think the Bible is the ultimate guide for business and life. Like, even if you're not a Christian and you read that Bible, particularly Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, you will be set. Like, there's so many things in there. And even just like the general principles that Jesus teaches, love your neighbor as yourself. He has unconditional love for us. So the way that I treat my clients is the way, and my family, like as much as I can. Obviously, I fail.
Yeah.
But the way that I treat them is the way that Jesus has treated me. So the way that he loves me, and I really feel like that's why I love people so much, is because I know how much God loves me, and I know how much he values me, and I know what he's done for me, how he sent his son to die for me. That's how much he loves me, and he loves me exactly as I am. So when I talk to my clients and they're like, oh, I'm so overweight, I don't know if I should come to your classes, I'm like, I love you exactly as you are. Even if you never change, you never lose a pound, you never get stronger, nothing. I love you exactly as you are. But I know you want to change, so I love you so much that I want to help you get there. But there's definitely never any judgment. I mean, yeah, and that's why I think like a lot of the hard stuff that I've gone through in my life, it's helped me not just know it here, but know it in my heart and actually understand God's love. So that's the biggest thing, is how much God loves me. And then just all of the things in the Bible that Jesus talks about, that the apostles talk about, like, sharing, giving, good stewardship. And I mean, even in 1 Timothy, it says physical training is of some value, but godliness has value for all things. So it says right there in the Bible that physical training is important. You're supposed to be a good steward of your body. It even says that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit. Therefore, honor God with your body. So that means you need to take care of yourself. You need to take care of your, and so I think that's what fuels me to want to help people at that level, because it's not just the physical, it's the emotional, it's the mental, it's the spiritual. And God has made us so complex and so connected that it's all related. And honestly, yeah, God is really the foundation of everything. And I really feel like if I get people fit and healthy, that's great. You know what? You're going to live a better life. You're going to feel better. But ultimately, if you don't know where you're at with God, that's the ultimate thing. Mm-hmm. So if somebody ever wanted to really like, Carla, what do I really need to do? I would say the first thing is you need to find out where you're at with God. And understand who he actually is, not who somebody told you he was, not who you thought he was, not because your dad's like this, your uncle's like this, your grandpa's like this, your teacher was like that, but who is God actually? Find that out. Go to the Bible, go to church, go to Bible studies, whatever. Find out exactly who God is, and then make a decision about what you want to do. Then talk to him about it. And if you're not sure, ask him. Say, God, I don't know what's going on. I don't know much about you, but can you show me? Show me who to go to. Show me what to do. And so that's really how I want to help people at all of those levels, because I feel like God helps me at all of those levels. Even in my business, there'll be times that I think I've texted you or I've called you sometimes. Yeah. Like I'll be out like walking and having my alone time with God. And all of a sudden, all of this business stuff comes to me. And I'm like, God, why business stuff? And it's like almost like he's saying, because you care about that, Carla, and because I also care about that. So all of a sudden I'll get these business ideas and I'll be like, yeah, texting Niki, or I'll be texting somebody, or sometimes I'll be jogging in the middle of my 10K run or something. And it's like, God will give me this business thing while I'm listening to worship music. And I'm like quickly texting, hey, I have this idea to do this thing. And like, yeah, so I feel like God just looks after me in all those areas. So I want to help look after everybody else in all of those areas.
I think that's one of the not necessarily perks, but one of the parts of the Christian faith that a lot of people don't realize is actually so huge, is that when God's love pours so deeply into your life, it gives you more capacity to put effort and love into mostly people, honestly, and also into business and work for him when you have it. Because when you are a Christian, everything you do for Christ. And it's not like your business is your business and you go to church on Sundays. They're connected in a deeper way than I think most people would tend to think.
Yeah, I've even had people say, oh, I just get frustrated. So I don't even consult God about my business. My business is kind of separate. And I go to church and my family, like that's kind of the God stuff, but my business is over here because I just get frustrated. Well, I get frustrated too. Sometimes I'm like, God, help me with this and that. It doesn't work out. And I'm like, why is this not working out? Well, I obviously have a lesson to learn. And that's the thing with being positive too, right? Like even like no matter what kind of trash happens, no matter what kind of nonsense happens, no matter how many times I fail, God's got me.
Yeah.
Right? Like God's got me and he'll provide and he'll work it out. So I just try to have, it gives me a lot less tension and pressure. Because I'm like, okay, God, what do you want to teach me? Like, this isn't fun. This really sucks. Like, what's going on? But I usually end up like I find out eventually. And if I don't, I'm just like, okay, God, you'll keep that from me for now. But that's okay.
Yeah.
Like God's ultimately in control. So
Which takes a lot of stress off your life when you finally get to that point where you realize it.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Otherwise, I would be super stressed out because that has happened and it can happen.
Yeah. So I don't know how long we've been going for, but to wrap it up, to bring it to a close, what is your message to the world, Carla?
Oh, I always ask people that.
You do?
Yes. Okay, I should have known that was coming. My message to the world, I think, is a lot of things that we were just talking about.
Yeah, quite a bit.
So basically, my message to the world is do not stop trying. Do not stop getting back up. And I talk to a lot of my clients in fitness and nutrition. And I always say the successful people, the ones that progress the most, are not the ones that are perfect. It's the ones that keep getting back up over and over and over again. And if you have issues in your life, like you don't know where you're at with God, you're struggling with your mental health, you're struggling with your physical health, you're struggling with your emotions, whatever, don't quit asking for help. Don't quit reaching out. Go to a doctor. That doctor doesn't help you. Go to another doctor. That doctor doesn't help you. Another doctor, like, you get my point. Like, just don't quit. If you're struggling with your mental health, try a therapist. That therapist doesn't work. Another therapist, a different medication, a different supplement, a different workout regime. Like, you just keep going. And I want everybody to thrive in their life. I want you to thrive so badly. And so I feel like don't quit asking. Do not quit getting those answers. Do not quit getting your questions answered, and just keep going after it. So, and there's always going to be something that you struggle with. So as soon as you get like, okay, my mental health is better, well, now it's your spiritual health, or now it's your physical health, or there's always going to be something you struggle with. And that is totally normal. You just keep struggling. You just keep failing. You just keep getting back up. And when you fail enough times, like I have failed many times, you kind of get used to it, and it's kind of like, okay, that sucked, but I'm going to get back up and go again. So I think you push yourself, get out of your comfort zone, just like figure it out. Just keep working at it. And again, when I say figure it out, I don't mean figure it out on your own, like sit there stewing about it, but just keep asking. There are so many amazing people, amazing therapists, amazing pastors, amazing just people, friends, Christian people, secular, there's just amazing people in the world. And they are there to help you. And they have the experience, the gifts that you lack, they have it. Like, it's all there for you.
Which you would say is even kind of the point of this podcast too, is that you want to make something that at least people can listen to and potentially get something from.
Yes.
Or be pointed towards somebody who can help them in that way.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's all about all of those areas of health. You can't have one without the other. You have to be healthy in every way, and don't quit until you get healthy in all of those ways. And don't quit even when you struggle, even if you keep struggling with the same thing over and over and over again. I've been struggling with some things since I was 12. I'm almost 40. Like, you just keep going. You just keep asking the questions, and you don't quit. That's my message to the world, I think.
Very well said. So, people can find you. I know where they can find you. If they've listened to this, they've already found you. But are there any events or promotional things with Power Fitness or with your going on that you would want to mention before we cut off?
Oh, I am so excited because I love people and I love getting people together. I love giving people the best experience possible. So I'm actually having my 40th birthday party. This isn't the main thing, but a lot of people, why are you having a big 40th birthday party? Why are you inviting all these people? Why are you getting a band and stuff? It's not about me. Like, I can go out to the river and go for a canoe trip or go for a horseback ride. I'll be happy. But it's about everybody, getting them together and like making it happy and fun for them. And therefore I am happy. So so that's the kind of things. I got my 40th birthday party coming up September 10th at 4 p.m. and everybody is invited. Okay. Just RSVP, send me a message. Go to powerfitnessonline.com. You can check out all my fitness stuff. That is also my passion. I love that, love that, love that. And so we have classes going on. We have online stuff. We have offline stuff, everything. And Niki, thank you for doing this. And I wanted to say thank you. Like, you are my media girl, so these podcasts wouldn't happen. My online video workouts wouldn't happen. Really not much would happen without you. So I just want to say thank you for doing that. And thank you for interviewing me. This has been really fun.
Oh, this has been rather fun, actually. I enjoyed it much.
Yeah, good. Thank you. Thank you for tuning into the podcast today. I absolutely love that you joined us. I love being able to record these, and I love our guests. It's been so much fun. So thank you. Please like it, share it, comment, do all of the things that you feel like you want to do if you enjoy this podcast. I really, really appreciate that. And this podcast has been brought to you by my company, Power Fitness Online. So everything that we do locally with our workouts, with our group nutrition coaching, and with all of the other fun events and stuff that we run, we put all of that online. So now you can access everything, even if you're not locally, don't live in our area. So my coaches and I and all my staff, the whole team, we are putting so much work into these workouts. We're filming 5 fresh workouts every single week so that you never have to do the same workout twice. We're also doing group nutrition and personal nutrition coaching so that you get exactly what you need. And you know what the best part is? It's the community. The absolute best part is just knowing that you have the support, that you have the encouragement, that you have everything you need to succeed. So go to powerfitnessonline.com.